I have a question because we get this asked a lot as an industrial systems. What is an industrial systems engineer?
Yeah, I have no idea. No,
I am Maya Echeverri. I'm an ambassador for the College of Engineering. I am an industrial systems engineering student here at UAH. Today we have Dr. Loyd, if you want to introduce yourself.
sure. I'm Nic Loyd. I'm a faculty member in Industrial and Systems Engineering and Engineering Management.
Perfect. What are you currently teaching right now?
So I currently teach the work design course for undergraduates, and I'm also the lead over the engineering management graduate program. So I teach engineering management theory, strategic engineering management, and engineering management structures and systems. So.
Perfect. What has been your favorite class to teach?
Oh wow. I like all of them for different reasons. So I'm gonna throw a curveball at this one. So for the first time in a while, we're doing a manufacturing-related senior design project, and I'm teaching that class. So it's new to me. So right now, that's the most fun class that I teach because it is kind of that bridge between students being in the classroom and going to the real world, and it's fun because I just get to sit back and mentor them and share things that I've done.
Perfect. That sounds very interesting. I have a question because we get this asked a lot as an industrial systems. What is an industrial systems engineer?
Yeah, I have no idea. No, so in my mind, what an industrial and systems engineer does is coordinate the rest of the disciplines. So if you have a mechanical engineer that is designing, so we'll take a car, right? A mechanical engineer may design some of the engine parts. An electrical engineer may design some of the electronic components to that. In general, a civil engineer, maybe not with a car, designs structural components a lot. And an industrial engineer will say, okay, how do all of those go together? So from a systems side, it's making sure that the mechanical parts and the electrical parts, the structural parts are all being designed to work together. And from an industrial side, it's how do we have processes that actually can make the things that the other disciplines design and integrate those.
Well, thank you. That was a very good answer. Are you involved in industry or research outside of teaching?
I am. That was actually where most of my career was spent. So my other job here at UAH is I'm the director for the Center for Management and Economic Research. That's actually associated with the College of Business, but some of our main work that we do with that center is through the Manufacturing Extension Partnership, working with small and medium-sized manufacturing companies to provide professional services, almost like on a consulting basis. And so most of my career for about 19 years was doing that with manufacturing companies all over the place, doing lean manufacturing and strategic management.
Perfect. Thank you. Is there a possibility for students to join your research?
There is. I'm always looking for people who are interested in going into manufacturing through either lining up internships with some of the companies that I've worked with. Also, a lot of my research is applied, less traditional in terms of like going out doing a lit review, finding out what's going on. But right now we're kind of also on the front edge of something called Industry 4.0, which is this big wave of new technologies all at one time hitting manufacturing. So I actually do have a few undergrad opportunities to research and see what in the world that means for small and medium-sized manufacturers.
Perfect. Thank you very much. What qualities do your most successful students typically have?
They come to class. So the ones that I see that are successful are the ones that are able to think critically, the ones that are able to take a specific concept that I or some of the other faculty may cover in class and apply that more broadly. So I always say that we kind of sometimes do a disservice in academia to students because we, especially in engineering, because we give you these formulas and we give you this little column called the givens. And the hardest part in the real world is to determine what those givens are. The easy part is taking the givens and putting them into a formula and getting an answer, but it's really hard to think critically and go, well, what are the parameters and why am I even using this formula and how am I applying it to something that actually matters? So the really good students are the ones who aren't looking to be spoon-fed the givens, and they kind of can think critically through that. I think that's actually like what an engineer does.
That's a really good answer. Thank you very much. I was going to ask you, what are your hobbies and interests outside of engineering?
So I've trained Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu for a long time, and um, dogs. I love dogs. I have an English Bulldog, 9-year-old English
Aw.
Bulldog. Her name's Daisy Duke, and she dominates a lot of my time when I'm not teaching.
That is great. Okay, steering back to engineering.
I like to play the drums.
You like to play the drums. That's awesome. Steering back to engineering, if you had to rank types of engineering, which one would be at the bottom of the top?
Good one. Have to rank. Oh, trying to think of who I don't like. I'm trying to sort through like whether I should answer that from like what I would have wanted to do, because civil would have been my number 2, just because I like to play in the dirt. The least interesting to me, so I won't say worst because I think it's actually probably one of the highest earning potential, but the least interesting to me is electrical and software engineering.
Absolutely.
Couldn't care less about it. Not,
I
that doesn't
agree.
mean it's not important, it's just not me.
I agree. How about your top 3?
Okay, so I enjoy industrial, obviously. I'm very glad that I stumbled into that. I think civil would have been number 2 for me, certainly. I probably wouldn't have gone into engineering otherwise. Mechanical would have been fine. I would have been fine and then gotten bored and then looked for something else.
Gotcha. Thank you. How did you know engineering was the right call for you?
I'm not sure it is. I don't know. So I, like a lot of engineers, I think, like I like to tear stuff apart when I was young and put stuff back together. I didn't intend to be an engineer at all. My entire life I was going to be a veterinarian. So from the time I could talk and somebody asked me till the time I worked for one my senior year in high school and was like, oh, I can't come home heartbroken all the time. This is not healing puppies and kittens. There's a lot of sad stuff that you see. And so my dad worked in factories my whole life. So that was kind of a last minute. I was like, oh, I like math. I can't spell. So engineering's kind of fits both of those categories. And I think what really helped settle me, like I played sports and stuff growing up, and I remember my dad always being like tired. I thought he was making stuff up. He'd be like, oh, I can't throw. And like then I realized, oh, he's actually just kind of worn down. So I think it's kind of cool to help improve processes at work so somebody's dad's not as tired.
That is actually very inspiring. Thank you. Do you have any advice for engineering students? I'm going to ask this question specifically for industrial systems because once you choose industrial systems, we have 2 routes here. You could do industrial or systems, and within them, we have several paths. How would you guide people to choosing what's best for them? What advice do you have?
What do you like to do? So I actually, and some of my senior design students who are doing interviews right now, and they're starting to like really assess things. And one thing that I've told them is look for opportunities to do something that you enjoy with people that you enjoy doing it versus, oh, that company makes something cool. Because once you start showing up to the company every day, you stop caring about what they actually do, and you want to, if you're going to enjoy your job, you want to enjoy what you do with the close group of people that you're going to make sure the organizational culture's right. I don't know if that directly answers your question, but that's some advice that I give a lot. Because sometimes it's like, oh, I want to work for Boeing because they make space stuff, or I want to work for whoever, I want to work for the government because I don't really want to work, or whatever the things are. And sometimes it's once you start showing up to work every day, it doesn't matter if they're making cars or missiles or rockets. Like, you're doing work in an organizational culture. And maybe this is my graduate engineering management voice speaking, but it's just the truth. Is so like I recommend that, like when students are interviewing, when they're looking for career paths. Like, I think in industrial and systems engineering specifically, like, we have a broad range of what we could end up doing. And so when they're interviewing, which I know at that point you've already chosen your path, but I think in my brain, learning to think as you're going down whatever path makes you broad to be able to jump back and forth.
Do you have any advice for students that are just coming into college?
Yes. Don't feel like you need to know what you're going to do with your life when you're 18, 19, 22. Be open-minded. Don't, yeah, don't feel like just because you've gone down a path a certain way that there's not a way to adjust. And always, like, stay open-minded. Engage with your professors. I can't speak for everybody, but I can speak for our department. Like, we do care. I think that's, you go to college to learn, and like anybody can give you a textbook, but the people that are teaching with the experience, like, I think there's a lot of value in that. Maybe I'm biased, but engage with your professors. It's easy. The other piece of advice I try to give is, y'all take a lot of hours now. Like, everybody I talk to is taking like 15 and 18 hours, and you're so busy and you get so bogged down in I can see all y'all saying yes, and you get so bogged down in the weeds of, like, trying to pass the next exam in one class that you're not able to zoom out and appreciate, like, what you're actually learning in all the classes. So let yourself do that. I know it's hard, but, like, you have to take a big picture view of this stuff as part of the curriculum for a reason. So always zoom out, try to understand how all the classes fit together. There are some, I don't know where they come from, but so that's easy for me to say, right? But that's also easy for me, like, when I've interviewed people later in my career, like, those are the ones that I look for, the ones that can get that and go, well, I made an A in statistics. I have no idea what that means, and I totally had to neglect this class that sounded interesting, because that class, that professor gave me so much to do that I couldn't, like, I know that's hard to manage, but, like, keep your head up and see, like, what's in front of you beyond, like, that next grade, because life is bigger than that.
Perfect. That was very deep and very good. Thank you. Coffee or tea?
Coffee. Not even close. Whiskey.
Whiskey. Love that. What companies have you worked for, and which one has been your favorite one to work for?
So the first part of that's really easy. So right now, I'm doing a lot of training for the Mazda Toyota assembly plant and some of their new hires on the Mazda Toyota production system, because that's similar to my background. I've worked with a lot of people, Mercedes, Boeing. I've worked with some small machine shops that are really cool, that have made, like, surgical tools and knee and hip implants and firearm components, and those are always, without naming one specifically, like, I really like the mom and pop small business manufacturers, and I tend to like machine shops because there's just something about coming home smelling like machine oil that is pretty cool. It really is.
All right.
I'm a blue-collar person at heart. I grew up on a farm raising cows, so, like, I like that kind of stuff. I like coming home smelling like oil.
That's very interesting. Thank you. When you were in college, do you remember any class that was particularly difficult?
I don't even remember college. Thermodynamics. I don't know if it was difficult, because I made that point to, like, and this can be on or off record, I don't care, but, like I made a point as an IE to make A's in all the other discipline classes. I'm like, I don't care what I make in hours, but, like, I'm going to show you that I can do this, and just don't care to do it. And so I think I said thermodynamics because I took it it was required. I took it my last semester. I had a really bad professor. I never made anything over a C on anything. Got an A in the class. It inspired me when I did start teaching in the opposite direction. Because here's what not to do. Because I was thinking, if I got an A and I never made anything above a C, like what did the rest of the people do? And I don't remember anything, so was that really teaching and was that really effective? And so it actually really did, once I started teaching, it really did affect the way I taught on the flip side of that. Because I always assess if somebody, like any exam question, any assignment, like if there's a percentage of people that didn't do well on it, like that must be me. If people, the highest grades are C's, then that's on me because like I need you to know more than C to get out of here. And so I guess that was the hardest because those were the worst grades I made.
Thank you very much, Dr. Loyd. That was very interesting. We learned a lot. Thank you for being here with us. We would see you at E-Week.
You will see me at E-Week, yes you will. It's always exciting, and I think Dr. English would injure me if I wasn't at E-Week. No, I enjoy doing those kinds of things, so you will definitely see me there.
Perfect. Well, we'll see you there. Thank you.
All right.
What's your favorite food?
Steak.
Um.
Put that one to bed quick, didn't I?
Yeah.